Guys, I need a battery. Oh, what? So I asked for diluted into this. Diluted drink. My mouse. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave him to them. Alright boys, we're getting ready to start. I am not late! I even said hello in chat! So I'm definitely on time. I'm definitely on time. No way in hell. I'm not late. I refuse. I deny it. This is not real. Not a chance. Watch the whole movie in the time. Man, that must have been a short movie. How's it going, folks? How are we doing today? My stream said starting. There was a timer. It was good. I was ready. I was set. And I was go. But folks, how are we doing? How are we doing? How's it going, Power? Steve, Leaf, Byron, Wood, Sazano. Too much typing? No, never such thing. Never such a thing. We type until the ends of the earth. So, it looks like there's been lots of stupid going around. And I do mean lots of stupid. Some good news. Looks like Monster Hunter is doing really well. And then there's even more stupid. It looks like today's stream is going to be filled with lots of stupid. And I don't really get why there is that much stupid going around. But apparently, stupid is the name of the game. That should go there. But otherwise, how are we all? You started digging out the pool. Oh, man. Nah, I'm good, man. After I'd done all that heavy lifting on the weekend, well, the kids did the heavy lifting. I just coordinated. Trust me, apparently coordinating where stuff goes is actually a lot of work. it's so stressful. You know, it's tiring. Telling people where to put stuff. It's a real important job. It is Tuesday. You saw. I remember that, Mr. Pony. Pony. But yeah, it's been an interesting week. A few denials, a few copes. Things just going kablooey, and some interesting April Fool's Day jokes today, right? I think I'm going to start with this one because this one is kind of interesting. I really don't like what these people have done with this whole thing. It's irritating. So did anyone seen this? From Zenless Zone Zero. They decided that today was the day that they're going to mock Xbox. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about it. PS5 blows. There was some nice April Fools, but this one I think was in way bad taste. I don't know what their PR was thinking. Look, I will frighten you as much as I want to. And there's nothing you can do about it. So, basically, Hoyoverse had a contract with Sony. With Genshin, I think it was like a 3-year exclusivity deal. Zenless Zone Zero is another one of Hoyo's games, but it's only got a 6-month exclusivity, which has now expired. And so a lot of Xbox fans have been wanting this game to land on Xbox so they can play it. Well, they chose today to not only make an April Fool's out of it, but also to mock Xbox. X version launches on February 30th, 2022. Yeah, you can take this. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. That is a really cool way to alienate your alienate a community. Dude, that's the Xbox logo. That's the Xbox logo, man. Come on. That's the Xbox logo. There is no thing. I mean, the whole thing. New Bangbu available in an outstanding partner. Partner, Xbox, partner. After the X version update, the S rank Bangbu X Boo will be available for a limited time on the Bangbu channel. Before signal searching for Bangbu, proxy should select an S rank Bangbu. Upon selecting an S rank, this is basically the usual malarkey that you go through when you're doing a pull. But it's the X version of the game is going to launch on February the 30th, 2022. This was in severe poor taste. But funny nonetheless. Hey, Paul. Where is that piece of information? But yeah, in my opinion, that was just, there was kind of just no need for that. None at all. I think that was just way over the line, man. Good luck to them, though. Good luck to them. There's a lot of people already in the comment section that are not happy with this. But did anyone else see any cool April 1st jokes today? I managed to rickroll a few people today, so that was good. I was happy with that one. That's always a win-win for me. If they could make it 23, 22, just to be sure. Hey, don't worry. Apparently, Steve, from what I've been hearing, that Palworld game is actually real. So you'll be pleased to know that it is actually real. I know you was looking forward to it, and you was very concerned that it wasn't real, but it is apparently real. So you'll be pleased to know this is going to be where you live for a while now, Steve. Steve is super hyped about this one. You're going to have your own furry pillow. You're going to have whatever is going on here. You don't have to tell me anything about your sordid desires. But yeah. Good job, Steve. You finally got what you wanted. You finally got your Gears of War killer. In Exeter today, a crowd of people turned up on the cathedral lawns. Tornado to land. Oh, damn. Played a kazooie, but was there a banjo? If there's no banjo, there can't be a kazooie. We need the banjo. The banjo is a must. But hey, look. If you're a PlayStation fan, my video might have been a bit too much earlier, so with me with that one. But this is insane. This is insane. I was in stitches when I saw this yesterday. No way. No way. This cannot be real, right? This truly cannot be real. It came out before April Fool's, and it was already rumored to be coming. Apparently, this is real. Naughty Dog have basically done nothing this generation outside of remasters and remake, and now they're doing a remaster of a remaster by putting it into a universal collection. This is apparently real. There's no way. And I guarantee you, the usual suspects are cheering this on, saying, oh, this is great. It's putting all the collection into one. We don't have to have 2 boxes. We can now have it all in one box on one disc potentially. Oh, this is like so good. This is rough, man. This is what they cancelled Factions for. To release the Universe Collection. But it's got the PSSR. It's like, come on. This is... It actually landed before the April Fools. They released... This was posted before April Fools. And normally, it would be posted by an official channel. It's not been posted by an official channel yet. It's just coming... The same person who leaked The Last of Us 2 Part 2 Remaster and The Last of Us 1 Remake has also leaked this one. This is crazy. Don't get me wrong, if they actually made a Universe Collection and released it on the Switch 2 and the Series X in time for the show, you know, I can turn around and say, do you know what, that actually makes a bit of sense. Because the show is going to get some hype, build up on it, and people will buy the game. But you're trying to sell the same exact game to the same exact people again and again and again. I mean, how much can you milk that cow? Don't forget, this is supposed to be a company that is doing remarkably well, that doesn't need the money or the PC money. They are self-sufficient, according to fanboys. They don't need anything. And yet here we are with the same game again and again and again. I mean, at this point, they should just change the name, right? The Last of Us had a meaning. They should rename it to hopefully The Last Remake for Us. This. It's like, come on. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I could not believe it. According to a reliable source, Naughty Dog will release a physical special edition of The Last of Us on PS5. Not much is known about it other than it will cost $109.99. So $110. I'm guessing that's without tax as well. Which leads me to believe that it will be Part 1 and Part 2 remastered, bundled up into one copy. But isn't it cheaper just to buy them separate at this point? Why would you need this? At this point, we might as well start taking bets on when the Horizon is getting another remaster. Well, here's the thing, right? The Switch 2, which the direct is tomorrow, I'm probably not going to be able to stream that because of work, which is unfortunate, really. Apparently, it goes on for 2 days, right? There's one tomorrow and one on Thursday as well. So I might do like a double whammy of the presentations on Thursday with Chili. But now, every time there's a Nintendo Direct, the question is, what PlayStation game is going to be there? And that one question makes them go mental. And I'm here for it. It's crazy how annoyed they get the moment you start. They start going through all sorts of mental gymnastics to try and prove that they're not putting no games anywhere. I couldn't imagine that, Steve. I could not imagine that. Not for a second. Streaming to my audience is definitely priority number one. Can we get Gravity Rush 1 plus 2 and Eco Collection? Nah. The next collection you're going to get is a Horizon collection, a Horizon Universe collection, and then you're going to get the Horizon and Last of Us collaboration collection. Four hours is long. So maybe not. Yeah, it changed on Sunday night, Woodpit. I don't know, Steve. Bullets did make a very, very valuable point. This is just mental. Like, I don't know, maybe if they added factions into this, I could maybe say, you know what, they're adding something new. But they're adding nothing. This is going to be... And if you look at the... Thanks for the tag there, Brandon. But if you look at... That's a good one. They have milked this franchise to death. This isn't good. The only way this sells at all is if it comes with multiplayer. They scrapped. Intergalactic must be worth $1 trillion. Creatively bankrupt. They still founding new ways to re-release this game. It's like... There's got to be more to it. When both games are available at around $40 for both, what could justify the price being $110? For this game? I mean, it released on the PS3, right? They released the original on the PS3. Then they remastered it for the PS4. Then they released the upgrade for the PS5. Then they remade it for the PS5. So that's 4 just on The Last of Us Part 1. Then they made Last of Us Part 2, which I think came out on the PS4. Then they released a patch to make it better for the PS5, so that's 6. And then they remastered it, 7. And now they're releasing it again, 8. 8 times! It's 2 games! And that's not even including the DLC. They will not add factions. They've already said that they don't have the manpower to do factions. That's the problem with it. People are buying it. They're buying remaster after remaster after remaster. It's crazy. How many of the same game can you possibly buy? How many of the same game can they think? Bob, I released a video earlier. This is a stream. This is different. This is the first time I'm covering it on stream, where we're talking about it. But this is insane. But I'm guessing Bob approves of this remaster, this Universe collection. The same reason you donkeys care that Steam is going to Xbox. I mean, why are you even here? Of course you own a PS5. There is no way you're going to simp that much for a platform and then not own the platform. Oh, they are big mad about Steam. They are mad about Steam. They are super mad about Steam. But this is insane. I don't even know what to say about that anymore. And the fact that people keep on buying it just tells them, alright, we don't actually have to release anything. We don't need no Intergalactic, or we don't need no next Uncharted or anything cool. We could just keep doing this and just milking the way through. It's insane. It's insane. But since we're talking about Steam, before we get on to the other topic of Steam, did anyone, well, I'm guessing everyone by now must have seen this trailer here that they released. So it's clear from this that whatever this next device is going to be that they're going to unveil at the GDC is going to be running the Z2 Extreme, which is cool, because I don't think a device actually runs the Z2 Extreme. But the important thing with this handheld, which is basically just an ASUS ROG with an Xbox themed outing, right? That's the only real novelty about it. Otherwise, it's just a Windows handheld with the new, I'm assuming the new UI is going to be on this as well. But it's going to be interesting to see the price point, because the Switch 2 is landing, and although they are drastically different devices, I think the price point of this is going to be a real eye-opener. I mean, there wasn't much else to show on this. You got the robot that runs in there before we get back, and then as that drops, you've got the Xbox controller and the Asus ROG. It goes in, and then you don't really see anything other than a black screen, which, well, that, and people are crying, screen bleed and all that. That just reminds me of the Asus Ally X, because that's the one that has the purple outings. So I suspect the Xbox one is going to have green ones, and you're going to have the Xbox logo as well, somewhere around here, which they're not showing. Probably somewhere in this corner over here. But that's really all they showed. But the GDC will actually be where we're actually going to see something for that properly. But this should be one of the first devices to actually have the Z2 Extreme, which is a massive step up from the Z1 Extreme. So that's actually going to be really cool in the hand, you know, the PC handheld kind of community. But it's really dependent on the price, folks. I've always said it. The ROG Ally X is 800 quid, yeah. If this is $1,000, it's not selling. At £1,000, this ain't selling. Microsoft has to subsidize the cost of this at some point, or it's not gonna sell. I mean, this isn't the Xbox. This isn't the official Xbox handheld. This is just a themed Xbox handheld. The one that Microsoft is looking at building will probably launch with the console when it launches in 26, 27. Nah, I don't even think it'll sell to PC gamers. Once you're hitting 1,000, 1,200, it ain't worth. At that point, the price point just starts to become silly. Even at 800, it didn't. The ASUS ROG Ally X wasn't selling. Not when the Steam Deck is available for £350. I know that LIX is more powerful and it can hit higher frames, but at the end of the day, the Steam Deck is available for 350 quid. So people are definitely looking at that as a much more palatable option. Byron, I agree. I think I'm leaning for the Switch 2 to be around $399.99. Grey Wolf, are you talking about this one, or are you talking about the one that's going to land in 2 years? I think I paid £560 for my Steam Deck. At the time, that was with the reinforced glass for the screen and the double storage. I mean, I pretty much paid for extra for the double storage. See, the Microsoft one can possibly will I reckon be subsidized quite heavily, but it's going to be interesting to see what this one does, because if Microsoft is looking at this one as a test to gauge interest, they have to price it aggressively. You know, if you're launching this around Christmas, ain't no one gonna look at it. Those trackpads are awesome, Leaf. People underestimate them, but they make your life so much easier. See, I can imagine this being anywhere between £500 and £800 in the UK. I mean, the Steam Deck can run TLOU, so this will definitely run TLOU. I mean, it's just a Windows handheld, right? So it's going to run all your PlayStation games, it's going to run all your Steam games, GOG games, Origin, Ubisoft. Whatever your PC can run, generally this will run. Now, performance-wise, that's a different matter. But it's just a Windows PC. I guess you do have the option of using other means to play other platforms, but I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, the price on this is going to be really important. And I'm hoping when they unveil this at the GDC, we're actually going to get a price point, because at the moment, that's going to be a key factor. I was speaking to a few people today at work actually regarding this. When they saw it, they reached out to me and they're like, "Have you seen this yet?" And we just had a discussion, and they said the same thing. They're only prepared to go up to £600 for this device. Anything more, and it's a no-go. They'll stick with the Steam Deck or the Asus ROG. It's just not worth it after that point for them. And I think a lot of people are going to be like that. You can quite easily price yourself out of the market. If you've seen the One X player for the handheld, which is priced at £1,790, I think, almost £2,000 for a handheld. It's super powerful. But who's going to pay $2,000 for a handheld? This is, you know, at that point, it's just getting silly. I mean, I get if you're rich, that's fine. But the average person isn't rich. I mean, it depends, right? It depends. It depends what Microsoft wants to subsidize it with. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be difficult if there's no kind of contract in place for any form of sale return. But at £1,000, I just don't see it selling. Oh yeah, for sure, tarnished. But I'm kind of hoping that it is. I'm really, you know, I'm gonna look. I'm gonna hope that it is. If it's not, it's not. But if it is, happy days. You know, the consumers win. If it's not, then I think it's just gonna become another LIX where it's gonna be super niche. No one's really gonna buy it. And as far as Microsoft are concerned, because they're looking at this as a form of test to see the, you know, the uptake of an Xbox handheld, this is going to give them really bad results. Of course, the worst thing that could happen is everyone buying it at £1,000, and then the next, when their real handheld comes out, they'll price it at £1,000. That is something to consider as well. God damn it, Paul is still at it. I mean, James, that's pretty much, you summed this up in a nutshell. I reckon the Switch is going to be $399.99. And then they're going to bundle it with a game and maybe a controller for $499.99. And the most accessible bundle on launch is going to be the game and the controller at $499.99, or two games at $499.99. The actual base unit on its own is going to be in short supply. The only versions available are going to be those that are selling with a bundled game and a controller, or two controllers. Two games, sorry. That's my belief. Why not, Paul? If they wanted to come on and have a civil conversation, I'm happy to have that with anyone. I mean, look. Are you gonna watch? Are you gonna reach? So I'm not sure if I should watch it tomorrow or just kind of go blind on Thursday and check it out on Thursday. although I am going to want to give my thoughts, I'll probably end up watching it on uh, tomorrow when I'm out of my meetings, because I've got a couple client meetings around 2, and I don't know if they're going to get cancelled. If they get cancelled, I might be able to sneak on. Apparently the presentation is an hour long, and that's just... I probably won't be able to stay on for that. Even if I did manage to jump on and sneak on, it would be a real hit and miss whether I could stay for the whole duration. So I just don't think it's worth it. Leaving the stream, well, me just heading off and leaving it playing while I'm doing my work. I just don't think it's fair on you guys. Are you sure that wasn't the CES? Ah, you would have to know where I work. I tried to get my son to do the stream tomorrow, but I don't know if he's comfortable in actually doing that yet. He feels very he doesn't feel comfortable doing it on his own. He doesn't mind jumping on without me. I mean with me, but not without me. Let's do a quick poll. Since you asked. Let's do a quick poll. Polly. What's this? Listen now. Man, YouTube literally right now sending me messages. Hey, would you like to put more ads on your show? No. No, I do not. God damn YouTube. Careful what you wish for, John. Wow. Steve in there straight away with that no. It seems a very divided. So yeah, I guess we'll just leave it till Thursday. You have the OG ally. Well, do you know what, Steve? I'm offended that you're offended. It's at 2 p.m. in the UK. I really wanted the X Ventura, but £800 was too much. I just couldn't justify it. Not while I've got a Steam Deck. I just can't justify it. I think £800 is just way too much money for what it is. It's 2 p.m, Paul. That's just Steve and his thoughts. No. No, it is not. But yeah, either way, this is going to be interesting, and it's going to be a real eye-opener to see the price. But you know, Microsoft did respond to this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they did. So it's clear that Microsoft is on board with this and they're ready to go. So time will tell when we actually get the true thing. But this is going to be interesting. So apparently Batman was supposed to be exclusive to PS5. Much like it, you know, the stuttering is exclusive to PS5. The new Batman was supposed to be, apparently, according to a bunch of sources, a bunch of people, but that's all kind of gone away. Rocksteady's next Batman game confirmed for PS5 and next gen. Now, of course, a lot of people got wrapped around that next gen because they thought they were referring to PS6, and as you can see here, PS5 and next gen could mean PS5 and PS6. They're so hellbent and so defiant on it actually not being on anything else but PlayStation. When it finally was posted to them, Rocksteady's rumored single-player Batman game is in development for PC, PS5, Xbox, and the next generation consoles. So it seems that the next gen hardware is already at these developers. That includes both Xbox and PlayStation. So maybe the rumors about PlayStation 6 landing in 2027 are maybe true. In which case it begs the question, what was the PS5 Pro for? What, like 2 years? You paid $800 for 2 years? Kind of makes me happy that I got away with $100. But I would be royally pissed if I paid $800 for a console and it lasted me 2 years. That takes the piss. Yeah, it's right here, pal. Alright, we'll just leave it for Thursday then. We'll check it out again on Thursday. But it does look like the Batman game is going to be there. You've got a lot of people out here that are just... So PS6 then, it's like... Oh, these people. They try and fail every time. I mean, they are getting milked to living hell at the moment, but even now with this, they're just trying to get a win when there is no win. There's no win with this. But they're still trying their damnedest to get that win that doesn't really exist. I don't know. To me, it's just weird. Pretty much, Comet. You won't drop spoilers this time. Oh, that's what I like to hear. So what else is new, Paul? It's the story of United. PS6 will not be out until 2028. Why would they want the same 7-year cycle when CV delayed development and put them behind? Xbox generation already failed, so they are trying. I've just read reports that they might be aiming for a 2027. So no one really knows when they're going to release it. I'm not saying that they are going to release in 2027. I'm saying they might. Because I'm just going by what's being reported. You mean The Last of Us 2 remake? Horizon Forbidden West remake. It's mental, man. I don't know. But it's clear Sony is watching intently on what Microsoft is doing. Wouldn't it be interesting if Sony also at some point went into a partnership with Steam? I wouldn't rule it out. It'd be hilarious, but I wouldn't rule it out. It probably wouldn't be the same thing that Xbox is doing, but again, I wouldn't rule it out. Of course you wouldn't, dude. You've been conditioned that way. You've been conditioned in a way where you don't ask questions, you don't ask for better, you just accept whatever is there and you move on. I get it. It's exactly what Sony wanted. And, you know, you're exactly the customer they want. Obedient and obeying. The Sith welcomes you. Mysterious expert. Oh, that's gonna be a good one for a while. I still can't believe Zenless Zone Zero did that. That was too soon, man. There was no need for that level of. That was a bitch slap and a half. But hey, I've got like an invincible bridge I can sell if anyone's interested. It's pretty cool. I can mail it to you. Disclaimer, you might lose it the moment you actually open the box. But that's not on me, that's a you thing. Well, I'm not actually sure what Sony has coming outside of. I mean, those 3 games announced: Papaton, Hot Shots, and Freedom Wars. Or Freedom Wars is already out, but the other 2 are Sony first party, so they've got those coming at least. But in terms of big releases from their first party studios, I think they're all so far behind now that it's not going to be this generation. I don't think it'll be in 2027. Considering the last thing we heard about Intergalactic from Neil Druckmann was that they still don't know what the game is. The game is still evolving into something, and they haven't quite nailed down what the game is yet. And if you don't know what the game is, you're still going through kind of this journey where you're still trying to figure it out, and that takes a long time, especially in the creative universe. So I don't know. The sooner they can get their heads around what they want the game to be, the sooner they can actually map out the story and what they want and how they want the game to be. It's all good making a foundation and a skeleton, but everything else around it takes time. And if you don't know what the game is or what the game is going to be fully, you can't really map out the characters. You can't map out the story. You can't map out, the areas. It's supposed to be based on one planet, but do you know what I mean? It becomes a lot more time consuming. The longer that takes, the more difficult it becomes to develop around it, because if you go gung-ho into development, you could be doing the wrong thing and you're wasting resources and time. And that's budget from the game that you don't need to waste. But then you've got developers just sitting there twiddling their thumbs, so it's a catch-22. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Mate, if Nintendo announces tomorrow more PlayStation ports, I'm gonna be laughing. Not because the games are going, because it's just gonna be so fun just teasing them. I like the definition that they came out with. So this is the definition I was told for a company going third party. PlayStation will only be third party if their games release on Xbox. They can release their game on Nintendo, PC, Google Stadia, Ouya, Etch-a-Sketch, Samsung Fridge. They can release it on anything you want. But as long as it's not on Xbox, it means that they're not third party. I don't even understand. I don't get it. Like, that. It's like... My guy, that's not how this works. That is not how this works, my guy. Hey, tell us how's it going. Ah, that is 2 games. That is indeed correct, Cole. Death Stranding 2 is no longer first party, but Ghost of Yotei is. So you've got one first party game landing. I love it! I love it! I love it! Chris, I love it because, what was it, a year ago when it was, what game? Xbox has no games, Xbox has no... It's all about first party, and now that the tables have turned, first party is irrelevant. Mate, you guys are a joke. I love the way you guys changed that goalpost. That goalpost moving is so good that should be a career change for you guys. The way you guys move that goalpost, man, that's insane. You guys should definitely look into making a career out of that one. I love it how as soon as the tables turn, that's it. It's no longer about first party, guys. It's all about access. Jokers. Man, that is that's a good one. It's like how I think the best one is Nintendo isn't relevant, but when it suits the narrative, they are competition. But when it doesn't suit the narrative, they're not competition. So it doesn't matter if games go over there. It doesn't make them third party. But if it does suit the narrative, then they are competition. They do matter because they take, gamers away from the platform you're playing. But the moment the narrative doesn't suit them, well, they're not competition. It doesn't matter. But they're released. Well, Lost Soul Aside is going on PC, right? So that's already third party. So wait, hold on. Let me get this right. Does that if PlayStation? Okay. I got this, chat. I got this. If PlayStation funded and published games are considered first party, so that means MLB The Show is first party on Xbox. PlayStation is third party. Your words, not mine. You are openly now saying that a PlayStation funded, developed, and published game is on Xbox. What can I say? That's that. That, as they say, is that, my friends. We can move on from that now. I think I've said everything I need to say about that. I hope the next handheld is purely ASUS featuring Microsoft Xbox as one of the launchers. I want 32GB of RAM. Will gladly pay the market. Ben Young, 32 gig might be a bit of a stretch. I think it will be 16 gig of RAM, but 32 gig will definitely make it more future-proof, especially with the Z2 Extreme. I think the Z2 Extreme might actually have some VRAM on there as well, so it might actually get away with the 16 gig of RAM, considering the resolution isn't aiming for anything that's 4K or anything like that. So in that regard, it's thing. Because, Chris, Microsoft owned them. If I bought Tesla today, which I wouldn't because it's a waste of money, but if I actually bought Tesla today and you were driving a Tesla, I would be the person that made your car. My company will have made your car. So when you have a problem and you're going to go to a Tesla dealer to actually get that car serviced, you're coming to my dealer. It becomes my property. I don't know if you know how transactions work, but once you sell something and the opposing person buys it, it becomes theirs. They buy it. So COD, Doom, they may be built franchises, but they belong to Microsoft. It's that simple. This is just simple economics, man. This is basic. This is basic economics. If you sell the rights to something, you no longer own that rights, and the new person owns that rights. So everything that belongs to that company, all the revenue goes to that company, it becomes their property. They can shut down the servers tomorrow if they wanted to, and you couldn't play a single online game again because they own the property. Bungie made 90% of their games for Sony. Really? Outside of Destiny, what did they actually do? That isn't from the 80s, when Sony didn't exist. Unless they made something for the... was it the MSX? It's so funny how they get so butthurt about hearing PlayStation is third party. It's like it's ripping their soul apart. I don't even get why. But it is fun seeing them squirm. You know, they get so wound up and I don't understand why. It's like, there's literally no reason. These companies don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about me. Actually, I'll take that back. Sony actually does care about me. They gave me Hitman VR 2, the Hitman VR for the PSVR 2 to preview. So I'll be having that on my channel soon. So thank you, Sony. I appreciate you for that. Sony does take good care of me. Steve, what are you on about? What did your dog do, man? Oh. Chris, they don't have to give... You don't have to give credit. As long as you know that you are lying to yourself and you are trying to deceive yourself, everyone else is okay to look around and laugh at you while you do that. If you are happy to live in that ignorant bubble of bliss that you want to put around you, that's perfectly okay. But if you go to any company house, Call of Duty is an IP owned by Activision, whose parent company is Microsoft. End of story. Under the legal doctrine, Microsoft owned them. You can try and coat this any way you want. You know, you can go and start a cult for all I care. It don't matter. You can go and rally up 1 million people. It don't matter. The truth and facts will always prevail. Nibs taught you that, right? When it comes to factual information and truth, the guy that you guys always kind of worship for his long portfolio of discussions, I thought by now he would have taught you guys what facts and truth actually is. If you can't actually differentiate what's real, what's factual, and what's make-believe, I mean, dude, that's on you. You can deny it all you want, but at the end of the day, the reality is there for everyone to see. It is a Microsoft-owned product, and Microsoft will take credit for it. Whether you like that or not, or the fact that you are denying it just only shows how butthurt you are about it. It just shows that how much it's grating at your very soul that you are having to enjoy a Microsoft-made game. It's weird to me because I can openly sit here and say, I enjoy my PlayStation games. I play them and I have fun with them. But you guys are different. You're a different breed. The moment Xbox comes into it, the name, it's like it's radioactive. It's like it's your kryptonite. You guys get so pent up about it and so butthurt about it that it triggers something within you guys. It's weird. It's a mental illness and you really should go check that out. It's a trigger that shouldn't really trigger as bad as it actually is. Video games are there to be enjoyed, buddy. Enjoy it. There's really no need to get this wound up about it. Everyone in chat knows, by the way, that I got my PS5 Pro, even though I did get it for $100, day one. And I enjoy PlayStation. I enjoy my Switch games. I play on my PC. I play on my Xbox. I've not hidden this ever. I'm an Xbox fan, sure. But I've never hidden that I wouldn't play a game that's on another platform. That's why I'm already, you know, I'm down to buying a Switch 2 the moment it releases. I want it. If it's a new console, I want it. If it's new hardware, I want, you know, it's a console hardware, I want it. If Microsoft released a, you know, a true mid-gen refresh, I'd have bought that too. But they didn't, so maybe I'd have been the only one, but still. I'm not glazing Microsoft. You are just having trouble accepting the truth. Do you remember that movie? You Can't Handle the Truth? I think that, you know, maybe you should go watch that scene. Because the truth is there in front of you, and you just can't handle it. It hurts your very soul, and it's upsetting that it does. It's upsetting that you get this wound up over it, dude. A few good men. Monster Hunter! The woke game that is going broke. The game that is so woke that it's not going to sell anything. It's going to do so bad and become the biggest flop in Monster Hunter history. Has sold over 10 million copies in 1 month, with PC leading the charge and having the majority of the sales, much to Zubitech's dismay. Hey, I don't know why it's doing that. It has to give the full screen, and since it scares you, I'm going to be doing it more often. Oh yeah, Susano, this game was woke because I think the girl that was doing the weapon crafting had her hair shaped in, you know, made in a certain way, with this side being kind of all skinhead kind of thing, and this it coming down this way, even though she actually looks quite gorgeous. Apparently it is woke, and this game was doomed to fail. But you know what? They were mistaken. 10 million copies in 1 month. That's remarkable, and I haven't even bought it yet, so I've still got to add to that tally. I will be buying it though. It's like Assassin's Creed, right? Everyone is saying that game is woke and all this and all that, and the game's already broken 3 million. Not bad for a game. Hey Diablo, nice of you to make it. I hope the visit to the vet, sorry, went well with your pet. Clean bill of health. Rex is up on Thursday. Nice to see, dude. Nice to hear. Happy to hear that. My cat is just over there. I swear, he just sleeps all day now. He's the youngest one, but he just sleeps all day. And you've got the older cat just sitting next to him. I do like watching them just have a little brawl every once in a while. It's so funny. The little one knows he's got no chance, but still tries to do a sneak attack every once in a while. He does a sneak attack and then wings it out the garden. Yeah, Oreo. Oreo goes to F-Air, sneaks up behind him, jumps, does a sneak attack, and then he knows there's no match for him, so he wings it out of the back of your car. It's pets are cool. Pets are awesome. I love pets. I've never had a dog. I've always wanted a dog. Cats are kind of like low maintenance. You just feed them, and every once in a while they may be an ass, but most of the time they just do their own thing, or they'll come cuddle up when they want attention. You give them the attention, and then they just go do silly stuff again, making you laugh. Dogs are high maintenance though, and I am really lazy. So when we eventually move, if the property is big enough, I might consider getting a small puppy. I mean, you can Ventura, but you don't have to be. See, this is the thing I don't get about Assassin's Creed, right? Just, you have to make those choices to have that relationship to actually make it happen in the game. And it's not like it's a path that's kind of there in your face. You kind of have to work on it in the game to actually get to that point. So if you are actively working to get to that scene and watch that scene, what does that say about you? More of a closet person, right? Because no one in their right mind who doesn't want to see stuff like that, who is opposed to it, is going to choose those options to deliberately get to that point in the game and then see it and then get outraged by it. A normal person will just say, right, no interest, I'm playing the story. Got no interest in you, buddy. Or if you're AoE, no interest in you, babe, I'm just gonna do the story and get my revenge. But if you're actively choosing those wide-arched paths and selecting the options to get to that point, why on earth are you outraged? You have 2 tarantulas? No way. No way. Nuh-uh. Nope. 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 No way. Nuh-uh. No chance. Nope. Nope. That's literally flamethrower territory. That is not happening. I don't know, my daughter wants a Shih Tzu. Bless her, she won't say the name because she says it's got a bad word in there. Only 18 likes. Is that all I'm worth, chat? From the 52 people that's there. 18 likes. You do better than that. That's more better. We've gone to 19. There you go. Now you can't hide from it. But yeah, Monster Hunter is doing phenomenally well. Majority of the sales have been on PC, which is really good to see. You know, really, really great to see, and I'm happy for them. I know a lot of people complained that the game was easy and whatnot. I mean, I saw one person saying, man, I've played this game for 130 hours, and I don't think there's much content. 130 hours and there's not much content? I can if I want to. I can see the dislikes. Let's have a look. How many people have disliked it? How many Sony fanboys have disliked the video? Let's have a look. Oh, I don't have that plugin enabled. Let's enable it. Notice how I stopped right there because Nintendo is listening. Alright, that's on, so let's see. Oh, it looks like the plugin is broken. Interesting. So I can't see how many people have disliked, unless no one's disliked. Oh well. Not that it matters. Steve definitely dropped a dislike after I exposed his Power World fetish. So that's definitely one. See? Told you. Nah, Steve already disliked after I exposed his fetish. I've not played Assassin's Creed Shadows, so I really don't care either way. The last Assassin's Creed I played was Valhalla and didn't finish it. See, I'm going to get my video for Assassin's Creed out soon, because I've been working on just capturing some footage, which I haven't had much time lately. Especially midweek, it's really difficult for me to do much. But it's like two different games entirely. At the moment, I'm playing with Yasuke, and it's so different. Like, the game is in, like, the way it plays is entirely different. Naoe is pure ninja, stealth, and, you know, her fighting style is very stealthy. You're supposed to do the one-hit takedowns, whereas with Yasuke, you don't hide, you don't do anything, you just kind of walk up to them and just dismember them. It's totally different. Even like the whole climbing and traversing, it feels so much more clumsy with Yasuke. Like when he jumps off a building into the haystack, he destroys the haystack and you hear him screaming as he's coming down. It's quite funny. Like he's scared as he's jumping down and it's like, yeah, all the way down. It's like a totally different experience the way they've done it. And it gives you the choice of whether you kind of want to go one-on-one as a samurai, or if you want to play a Tenchu-like experience as a pure ninja and try to take everything out in the stealth. If you get caught with Naoe, you are going to have a really bad time if you get outnumbered, because she is very squishy, whereas Yasuke is more of a tank. So it's two different styles of games, and they give you the choice. You don't ever have to actually use Yasuke in the whole game, outside of the predetermined parts, where you have to do it via story mode, which are few and far between. Oh yeah, Power Boss, the AI isn't exactly the smartest. But then I've seen other games do that as well, so it's not the only game that's done it, and it won't be the last one. Although, if you're going up against a bow and arrow person, anyone with a ranged weapon, and you go prone, you will die. they will murder you. It's only the physical attackers, so they'll probably patch that in due course. I can see in Discord. What did you post to me in Discord? How many dislikes did I get? Only one. Damn you, Steve. Just the one. Yeah, Yasuke is really weird, but I like the whole dismemberment side. Bags, yeah. It feels like a Tenchu experience. You can't really get caught. If you do, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Then you've got the different armor sets that actually allow you to take out 2-3 enemies at once with the innate abilities. It's quite nice. Well, Brick, Zenless Zone Zero decided to mock Xbox. Nikkei decided that they're going to give people what they want, but make it an April Fool's. Star Citizen have decided that they're going to put micro machines into Star Citizen only for the community to actually really like the idea, and then they said, okay, you know what? We have actually started making this, so we're going to put it onto the test server so you can go and try it out, and if you like it, we'll put it into the game. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I like the fact that I have to... With Assassin's Creed, if you're playing as Naoe, you can't just go in and expect to clear everything. You kind of have to time your kills, get your pathing right, and do things correctly. If you don't, things can go spiral out of control very, very quickly. So I'm just kind of playing against Yasuke at the moment to see what it's like. But so far, Yasuke is just a beast. He's a monster. I am not going anywhere near your spiders. Dude, I am arachnophobic. I would end up torching your house. I would turn full scouser. I mean, technically Naoe is Assassin's Creed, right? It's a stealth game. Assassin's Creed is a stealth game. What do you mean, pretend? But do you remember how I was saying that, you know, when it comes to, you know, PlayStation fans, the narrative changes when it comes to Nintendo and whether they're competition or not. And then you've got this, right? This is special. So Oliver says that the Switch Lite, which is basically a Nintendo Switch that runs Switch games, that has Switch hardware inside it, just without the dock, should be seen as an equivalent to the PlayStation Portal and should not be counted in global sales. Yeah. Just once, I want this guy to have a good take. Just once. I'm still holding out for the day that it's going to happen. I genuinely believe that one day he's gonna have a good take. He has to. He has to at least have one. But this one, but not today. And obviously, you've got the people that are actually simping up to him, thinking he's right. Like, I mean, the fact that he's called Big Boss is, and saying he's right is an affront to Big Boss. Facts. Anyone says it is a home console is an idiot. It's insane. I mean, Zuby's another idiot anyway, but it's the exact same hardware, plays exactly the same games at the exact same performance. This is he just has to have one. I've got to hold hope. Look, I have hope in humanity, right? Maybe I should start holding hope in some ponies, but there has to be hope for this guy. There has to be. There has to be at least one take. One take is all I'm asking for him to have. I just want one good take, man. Come on. I'm not asking for much. I mean, he's basically trying to say that the Portal, since the PS Portal isn't counted, the Switch Lite shouldn't be. But the Portal isn't a PS5. I mean, the Portal proves that you don't need a PlayStation 5 to play your PlayStation 5 games. That's true, right? Because you can stream the games on your Portal without a PS5. You can now play PlayStation 5 games without owning a PS5. You can't play all of them, but Sony is increasing that number quite regularly on the Portal, so you can now game on a PS5 without owning a PS5. All you need is the PlayStation Portal. Why would you exclude series? At the end of the day, it is part of the Switch family. It should be counted in the overall sell numbers. They're getting scared because it's catching up to the PlayStation 2's 160 million, which Sony decided to pull out of their asses. The last, that 5 extra million that they suddenly out of the blue turned up and said, "Oh look, we found this old record from 1943 that says we have actually sold an additional 5 million units." And so because Switch is actually getting close to that number now they're actually going out their way to fabricate news and views to try and get things discounted so it won't beat the PS2. Tarnished, it's sad. But do you want to know what's even sadder than that one? This guy. I mean, he hasn't had a good time. I mean, he's pretty toxic most of the time and quite stupid, but this one is special because Astro Playroom has sold a grand total of 0. It sold a grand total of 0 games. Oh my god. This is the one that comes pre-installed. Oh no, he's being serious, Bags. Unfortunately, if this came from, like, say, Puerto Rock or MBG, I would say they're trolling, right? But this guy, this is serious to him. This is true war. My dude wakes up in the morning, gets that black grease, puts it across his face, puts on that bandana, gets his army striped vest on, sits in front of his computer and goes, right, we are ready to war. I'm going to write about Asteroid's Playroom. Let's go! Like I said, I came across a few things that was quite stupid, but unlike this one was dumb, right? But at least you could see the goal he was trying to attain for, even though it's still a bad take. This one is like WTF. Like, what are you even doing here? Like, what are we doing at this point? What, Astrobot the actual game? Yeah, me too. I wanted it to sell better because it would have shown other studios and publishers that platformers are in high demand. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So the chances of us seeing more and more platformers is going to go out the window. I don't think 1.5 million just is going to cut it. Still good for the game, don't get me wrong, they made a profit. But if you're looking at the big companies, that 1.5 million isn't going to cut it. Astrobot was a good game, yeah, I agree. I gave it a very high review score. I really enjoyed it. Croc G is going to sell 10 million? Ha! You wish. But hey, if it does, it's good for the platform industry. That's all I can say. No, there is, but there's a lot of franchises out there that could do with a proper remake, right? Or could do with a sequel. Or just a new addition to the franchise. But they're just not going to arrive because, you know, there's no real demand for them. And that's a shame. Stop with the remakes. What, you mean like disc bags? I know you're buying this, so there's no point in you saying you're not going to buy it. We all know you are going to buy it. The question is not whether you're going to buy it, but when are you actually going to buy it? See, I told you he was going to find some excuse to make it work. The true sign of a pony. That's all I can say. It's coming, Gray. It's coming. So apparently, Simply Games in the UK has put the Nintendo Switch at £500. That's that's a yikes. Also, guys, apparently a image of the ASUS handheld has been revealed. Do you guys want to see it? This could be fake, by the way. I don't know if it's real or not. It looks kind of tacky. Well, somewhat tacky, I guess. But do you guys want to see it? Apparently, it's been revealed. I don't know if this is real. I do not know if this is real. But it kind of looks real. But I don't know if it's real. It kind of looks not real. But I just saw it and I thought you guys might want to see it. Obviously, you've got the Xbox games at the top through Game Pass and whatnot. That's the Game Pass launcher. Well, that's a background. You've got access to your Steam, so this is like the cross menu bar. You've got the Xbox. I mean, this is the Xbox UI entirely. I fully expect Power Boss for it to have the Xbox word on it. It's Xbox themed, so it's going to have the word Xbox on it. I mean, you should expect this to be on the actual device. That don't look too great to me. The interface is quite nice. I'm okay with the interface. I just think these don't look very appealing. I'm guessing these are the audio speakers for stereo. The vents are going to be on the back. They're pretty much the same as the Xbox controller, right? In the same angle. Believe it or not, the Steam Deck is like that as well. What do you mean too much green? It needs more green. It needs to be translucent green. The halo green. Screen size is nice though. No, I don't know if it's real. Like I said, I mean, it's only got one extra button from the standard alloy, ROG Ally. What are you on about? This is the first mock-up we've seen. Now, if this is real, then expect them to just push it out in the next few days. If it's not, then they'll probably just hold on to it for the meantime. Man, I must have not screwed this on properly. I might have to unscrew it again. This is a shame. Either way, I thought I'd share it. I just saw it, I thought I'd share it. But apparently, having choice is a bad thing. So Paris here is saying, playing a game on 4 different devices, Xbox Play Anywhere is the best. And I agree. Play Anywhere is a really good tool. I don't really play on 4 different devices. For me, it's either the Xbox, PC at the moment, and if I can on my Steam Deck. But those are the 3 places that I play. I don't really bother with the tablet and mobile side of things. It's not for me. If my internet was good enough, then I'd probably use the TV as well. But apparently having more choices in where you can play your own games is a bad thing. So play anywhere is actually a bad thing. Apparently it's a burden to have the choice to switch between your console and your PC. Anyone agree with that? Bax, who's the troll now? It is 100% L take. But you want to know something? Here's a question for you guys. Now, you all know my stance where I think exclusives have a place in this world. I've always said that, and I'll agree. You know, nothing's going to change my mind. But many of you agree that exclusives are bad, right? And I often see a lot of people on social media arguing that exclusives are bad. Some of you in this chat right now, some of you not. But that's the thing, right? Can we agree on that? No, I know you don't, John. You're with me. Wait, what happened to everyone saying exclusives are bad? I agree, Bex. Not guaranteed, but they have more of a chance of having things. Hey, Remy. Well, I thought there was a bunch of people in here that actually agree. Where did you all go? You're ruining my point being made. Alright, Gray, cool. So we've got at least 2 people in here that are willing to stand by what they say. And I respect that. 100%. I respect it. Right? I do. This one is for Steve. There you go. I'm good, Rebby. How are yourself? There's 3. And I fully respect your opinion. I am not saying you are wrong. Because as I've said before, they are both pro and anti-consumer. That is my opinion. But most people are also saying that, you know, go on this stance that Sony money hatting and making games exclusive is anti-consumer. Correct? Because that's where I'm coming to, Tarnished. All I ever see is people going after Sony. Why does no one ever go after Nintendo, who are literal kings at exclusivity? Why does no one ever bring Nintendo into this? Like, I never see anyone bad-mouthing Nintendo about this at all. Like, ever. Rabbi, I didn't promise I'd do it. I said I'd look into it, and I've just been working. I tell you what, Rabbi, drop £1,000 into my account every week as a super chat, and I won't have to work, and I can do it full time. Until that can happen, I'm not going to be able to actually deliver on everything. I've got to do my job, and my 9 to 5 is what pays my bills. This stuff does not pay my bills. It barely covers the cost of my internet and my electric bill. So I get to it when I can get to it. I said I was going to have a look into it. I've been very busy today. But they can't exclude Nintendo. Nintendo is either competition or it's not. Again, this whole Nintendo is competition, but they're not. So when we were talking about the console market not growing, oh, you've got to include Nintendo. But no, if Nintendo isn't competition and their games don't matter, then you don't need to include Nintendo. So this whole narrative where, I mean, this is the point I was trying to get to, and we landed right bang on its head. And Bags, you hit the nail on the head with that one. Why is Nintendo always getting sidelined? And why are PlayStation fans constantly using Nintendo as a gotcha moment when it suits them, and as a savior when it doesn't? I would also like quit my job. No, I can't quit my job. The $100 I make off YouTube is not going to pay my rent, my bills, my shopping, or anything like that every month. You know, I don't get sponsorships. I don't get no anything like that. I make peanuts on YouTube, so what I do here, pretty much, I'm doing as a pastime, almost as a hobby. I'd like it to become something real, but I doubt at this point it will, so I'm just doing it as it is. My 9 to 5 comes first, because that's what pays my bills. Bax is doing everything it can. You mean like D-Batch, yeah? No, we already saw what happened with Rocket League when Steve jumped on and went one-on-one with my son. It didn't end well for him. I'd need to own one first. Food. Wait, Reforge wasn't always PlayStation? Oh, Devin, it was an epic battle. Epic. Steve won. Steve got first blood with a 3-2 win. And then in the second game, my son won 9-4. And in the third one, I think it was 6-2. I mean, he makes more money, so clearly he's doing something right that I'm not. So, technically, from a financial point of view, you are correct. Uh, I know Red Dragon started off as an Xbox fan, and then he switched to PlayStation. I mean, Red Dragon at the time was making videos about rental shops and how they were the future for gaming. And now he's making fun of rental shops for gaming. He's done a full 360 on 180 on that one. Yeah, I never really saw Reforge's thing. Oh, that's a shame, John. But yeah, he got a good thrashing. I won't, Bags. Well, to be fair, I'm just making content. If Sony does something I like, I'll make content about that. But you know, I'll always be an Xbox fan. I think I've blocked Red Dragon. I can't take his tweets. They make me nauseous. Outside Assassin's Creed, I'm going back to Nintendo. I've got so many games to play, dude, that I'm trying to get through. I just don't have the time. Especially with how busy my days are. Exalt blocks everyone. So I wouldn't take that to heart. I mean, Koala Man makes everyone dumber when they watch him, so. You know, it's a thing. His takes are generally quite awful. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I've seen your posts, Steve. They're they're interesting. They're interesting. What's people's thoughts on Atomic? Is it Atomic Heart? I'm hearing mixed things about it. A lot of people are saying it's good. Some people are saying it's not good. Oh, Steve is definitely trying for that 100% achievement. Oof. The gacha game Ananta has announced its release date, August 2027. Well, no point in thinking about that one. But hey, at least we're getting a new Alien movie, apparently, from Disney. Alien Earth. That should be interesting. I haven't played it yet. I'm not really touching it until I get through some games now. I actually want to finish some games. So I'm gonna get through Assassin's Creed, Avowed. What was the other game? I want to finish Suikoden, then probably finish Ragnarok because I'm pretty sure I'm at least 2/3 of the way through that game before I jump into anything else. I think Ragnarok is really boring, but I actually want to start finishing some games now. What the hell's a Frist? Is it a TV series? I don't know. What do you mean, bags? I can finish games. Oh, really? Brick. That is true. Nothing you read today it should be taken as gospel. But yes, just to reiterate, I've been asked in Twitter DMs, I've been asked in Discord DMs. I do not have early access to South of Midnight. I know this question keeps coming up, so I'm just putting it out there. I don't get early access through Xbox. Only when the games drop. So if you was thinking of asking that question, please do not. Because I don't get it. But it is landing early access in 7 days. So if anyone wants to pay the big bucks, I think it's like $9 to get early access. Shut up, John. Why'd you hate me, John? Nah, bullets. No NDA here. Look, if I was on the NDA, I wouldn't be saying that Sony gave me, what is it? Hitman VR. There's no NDA for that. So once the game is out officially, outside of the preview, the early access, and the day one patch has landed, I'll play it. Apparently it's like a 10-hour game anyway, and I'll do something after. I only got it today. They gave me the code today, so I have to download it overnight because I can't download during the day. Otherwise, no one in the house can use the internet. PlayStation and Xbox use the full bandwidth, and you can't limit it like you can on Steam, which is a shame, but it is what it is. So I'm going to download it overnight tonight. Me and my son are going to give it a try tomorrow, and probably have a impressions video about it. Might even stream it over the weekend, see what it's like. Phil sees you're a pony, so doesn't give you games. Whatever. I just don't care. I just know every time a game's coming out, I get asked a question, so I just put it out there. In the property I'm in right now, 50 meg. It's not fast. One day when I move, we'll have better internet. But until then, it is a thing. Mate, it's crazy. Like, where I live, you've got like a circle with like a village of houses, and then everything around it is like an alien crop. Just in the middle. It's all just green. It's green for ages. Our village is just like in the middle of nowhere. Bags, they won't. I know people that are on like 3K subs and they're getting it. And you know, I don't really care. But I would like to get to 10K subs at some point. That would be nice, right? So if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, you absolutely should right now. That's what we need. We need you guys to help me get to 10K. Mate, I don't ever want to live in London again. I'm so used to living out in the sticks. It's so peaceful. It's so nice. But chat, quick, serious question. Why is it that PlayStation fans are so upset about the prospect of Steam being on the next Xbox platform, whatever it is? Why are they so upset about this? Like, I don't actually understand why they're so upset. It doesn't affect them in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't infringe them in any way, shape, or form. Why are they actually genuinely... Even Colin Moriarty decided that he's going to chime in on this and get really upset about the fact that Steam might be on Xbox, and then trying to find, argument points as to why this is bad for Microsoft. I mean, the reality is Microsoft is already weighing up their numbers and their stuff to see what's profitable to them and not. And why does anyone care what's profitable to Microsoft? They're $1 trillion company. They could literally run Microsoft in red for the next 20 years and it wouldn't matter. So why are people, mainly PlayStation fans, bothered by the fact that Microsoft isn't going to make as much money? I mean, we already know that all their games are going to end up on Steam eventually, Brick. I think Astrobot and Demon Souls is probably going to be the only two games that don't. I still expect GT7 and the other game to make its way there eventually. Exactly, Bags. That is my point. I agree with that totally. It will provide those people that only have one platform access to so many more games that they normally wouldn't have access to. They would get access to games like the Yi series and the Trail series and those niche games that they've been wanting for so long that don't get released on their platform. So I'm failing to see the negative here. I mean, Bloodborne is already on. Isn't it Bloodborne 60 FPS is already on PC? So, if you ever get access to the Windows side of things on the next Xbox platform, you'll have your 60 FPS Bloodborne. I mean, you'd still have your Xbox store, your Steam store, and everything else, but like, I just don't see why they are bothered about this. Their whole aim is to see Xbox disappear. If this doesn't work for Microsoft and it's really unprofitable and a bad venture and mistakes were made, they get their wish. So how is this a lose-lose situation? I mean, they're already seeing how much Sony is rewarding them right now by being in such a strong position, by constantly giving them remakes and remasters. So, I mean, clearly they want more of this. So, I just don't see why they're upset. I don't see why they are so annoyed at this fact. If Microsoft ends the console wars are over. Many YouTubers won't have a career bashing Xbox anymore. I mean, that's true, but the console wars has been over for years. Phil Spencer came out publicly and said, we have lost the console war. It's over, it's done. He said this, what, 2 years ago? Why is anyone still clinging on to a war that doesn't exist? Microsoft lost it with the Xbox One era. I mean, I know a lot of channels actually rely on the console wars being a thing. And their channel will vaporize the moment people get bored of it because there's nothing to really war about. But that is still just weird, right? I don't know. It's just like, for me, I mean, obviously I've got like, I've always said my skin in the game is no, like, I can't see the perspective of someone who only has one platform. I just can't, because I own all platforms. If a game comes out only on Xbox, then I'll buy that game. If a game comes out only on Switch, I'll buy that game. If a game comes out only on PlayStation, I want to play it, I'll buy that game. Some people don't have that luxury. A lot of people don't, so they only buy one console. So I'll never truly get that perspective, but I can understand it. And what Microsoft is doing for those gamers right now, by potentially putting, other launchers on there to give you access to other games, that's a great thing for gamers that have an Xbox. It gives you access to everything. Even VR potentially. Xbox could potentially actually have Half-Life Alyx. That's huge. It's a really good game. God damn it, Paul. I've got Half-Life Alyx. I've played it. I haven't finished it, but I've played quite a lot of it. Maybe I'll play it on stream. You should have seen that one coming. You're only saying that, David, because you haven't played it. But it's not like we're winning the Premier League, Paul. As long as we don't get relegated, that's all that matters. Look, for the longest time, I wanted Microsoft to compete. And even now, I want them to compete. They're not competing anymore. That's, that much is evident. But I wanted them to compete because it's good for the consumer. It keeps Sony in check. Nintendo is always doing their own thing, so no one cares about Nintendo. But it kept Sony in check. Sony has no check at the moment, so the next few years is going to be very interesting to see how they evolve and what they do. Because after the PS5 Pro's £800 price tag, if people think that the PS6 is going to be £500 or £600, they are delusional. Sony's already seen that people are willing to pay that money. So if you think that the PS6 is going to be any less than 800, or even the next Xbox console, honestly, is going to be any less than 700, you're crazy. Yeah, Sony has stopped caring. Like I said, during the 360 era, where Xbox was kicking Sony's ass, towards the end, instead of relying on third party, they went full internal first party and they came back fighting. And with the PS4, they were out for the kill. They wanted blood. And when Microsoft messed up with the whole DRM, they went at it like a rabid dog. They were full on it. But with the PS5, you do not see that hunger. They're not in the third or fourth gear anymore. They're coasting on the second gear. Or just leaving the third gear. They're not trying anymore. That's the way I see it. There's no hunger from Sony to compete because they're getting third-party exclusives. Not many, because a lot are now turning them away, but they're still getting the odd few. But they're getting a lot of the Xbox games as well. Maybe not everything, but they're getting a lot of them, and that's filling the gap of the games that they're missing. So, from where I'm seeing, Sony just isn't trying anymore. And for those people that like PlayStation as their main brand, the fact that they're not even turning around and saying something about this is kind of depressing. They should be asking for better, and they're not. This is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Steve sent me a clip of his gameplay, which I figured instead of loops running and trailer loops, having gameplay running is better. So next stream I'm gonna have hopefully some Assassin's Creed gameplay. Funny you should say that, Paul. I was actually messing about with 360 emulation, and I was trying out Blinks just the other day. But yeah, I'd play a Blinks remake. It's been so long. Even though the actual original still plays really well. Coasting out of gear. Yeah, they're just not trying anymore. You don't see that hunger from them. He doesn't, John. I recommended this game to him. He wanted to play Venus's Paradise. You know, the one that's only available in Japan at the moment. I don't think it's going to get a global release, but he imported it. He was playing that. But I told him, you know, try this game out. It might be something that you enjoy, and here we are. Plus, it's okay. I can out him now. He's already disliked the video, the stream, so it's fine. He can't dislike it more than once. The guy's got a 4090. I'm pretty sure he can handle it. And he's soon going to have a 5090. Yeah, it's probably the compression, to be fair. And look, what I do in my private time is my business. But what you call dildo catcher is Flappy Birds. You see, Steve? Devin plays dildo catcher. He's owned up to it. Oh, what? We're not talking about Stellar Blade here. That is exactly what that controller at CES was for. Steve even said that he's buying 2 of them. Now you know why. Hey, if anyone is playing Inzoi, apparently nudity mods are already here. Honestly, Paul, the game doesn't need mods. It doesn't need it. Some of those outfits are so revealing, it genuinely doesn't need it. But yeah, I'm really hoping we hear more about this Xbox collaboration. Well, Steam on Xbox soon. I'm hoping we hear more about the ASUS controller in the near time. I'm hoping South of Midnight is going to be good. I'm actually really looking forward to South of Midnight. It is one of those games that I'm genuinely looking forward to because it reminds me of Kenna Bridge of Spirits, which I really, really liked, by the way. Really good game. It's actually available on Xbox now too, for those of you that haven't played Kenna Bridge of Spirits. It's a really, really good game. It's not a great game, but it does what it sets out to do, and it's a really fun game that I recommend you check out if you have the time. I remember when that game actually came out, and it was really depressing to see. Like, a lot of people really wanted it. I know it came out like 2 years later than the PlayStation release because they had a timed exclusivity. And a lot of people were really being nasty to the developers. Basically saying, if it's not on Game Pass, we're not going to play it. Put it on Game Pass. It's a good game. It's definitely worth your money. Especially if you can catch it on a sale. Good for you, John. It's a good game. It looks like what's his name? Grums is screwed, right? He's about to disappear well and truly. Yeah, if you haven't heard, apparently him and his mum had a fetish porn ring going around. And it all got exposed. Man. That... Yeah, I know, Paul. That guy got exposed hard. He got through it. Yeah, him and his mum, Debbie. I guess there always was a meaning to Debbie Does Dallas. At least for him, anyway. Now, Paul. Let's not get out of hand. Oh, I know you all got that reference. Well, at least any of you that are, you know, somewhere in the region of my age. I know the Scouser got it. Susano definitely got it. Devin definitely got it. He's got the whole collection. Towerborn is also landing very shortly, 29th of April. This month, you can pre-install right now for those of you that are interested. Maybe it's a multiplayer game, so maybe on Members Night, we can actually sit down and give this game a try. That would be quite fun to check it out. I can't remember how many players it is, but it could actually be something that we can look at doing this month. Not much power, just Debbie and Dallas. And good old Grums. Towerborn, Steve. It's a new Xbox Game Pass game. Well, it's already available on Steam. You can get it right now. But it's this one over here. Let's switch over. Big face! Oh, it didn't do it on that one. Okay, cool. It's this one over here. Are they actually going to show... No, there's no gameplay. Never mind. But yeah, Towerborn is landing. It's a kind of Streets of Rage kind of game, but it's more medieval, swords and magic and stuff like that. And it's a side-scrolling game with different kind of depth levels for you to play, and it could be quite fun. You never know, you might like it. Yeah, it's in early access on Steam at the moment. Hey, look. Steve, we all know that you're right now too busy playing, you know, Power World School romance visual novel. But, you know, there's always hope. No, it got released on PC Early Access first because they wanted to uh, just, I don't know, release it there first, I guess. Get the early access first. There's no reason why it didn't come out on Xbox. This is why I had a big stink about it back in the tail end of last year. But you know, which one, Bags? There's a lot. That reminds me, I really should jump back into Final Fantasy XIV as well. They released a new update, so I should get the story done at some point. How many players did Outlast? The hell was that? Split screen? Why would you want to play split screen? Man, I remember returning to the original Phantasy Star not that many years ago. And it's still such a good game. The music, the gameplay, the controls, they all work really well. Yeah, I think that's a good giveaway there, Susano. uh, so, chat, any other topic you want to talk about today? I've covered everything I want to talk about. Yeah, I've pretty much done with everything I wanted to talk about today. Chili's on Thursdays. Tuesdays, I'm just either running solo if there's news. If there isn't, then I'm gonna basically on Tuesdays I try to get a guest star in if I can. If I can't and there's enough news, I do a news post. If there isn't enough news, then I basically play a game that I've been playing through and just talk about whatever there is to talk about. So it basically goes in that order. If you see me playing a game on Tuesdays, that means there really isn't much going about. I did put a poll out not long ago on my community on the community section on my channel to see what people wanted. Most people said to do a gaming stream if there is not much to talk about. So that's why I've kind of gone with that as the last thing. What the hell? Stupid people that crawled out of the woodwork with the new Gacha revenue report. Check DMs. We'll sort something out. All right, chat. Let's react to one of these videos, and then we'll call it a day. Do we go with PlayStation selling Last of Us again? Also, Joel was right. Or Sony gives up on retro PlayStation games. I don't know. I think PlayStation selling Last of Us again, also Joel was right, might be a better one. Okay. I did. That actually looked pretty cool, Leaf. Do you know what? How long are both? That's 10 minutes. And the other one is give or take 10 minutes. By the way, I appreciate you sending videos that are over a day old. I do appreciate that. Alright, let's have a look at both. And then we'll call it there. Let's cut the music out. Let's fix my positioning. Oh, no, 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 no. That thing has been up for a while. Let's get rid of that for a second. Damn, 29% said they're not going to drop a like. That's cold, man. You guys cold. There's no need for that sort of violence, man. Just saying. That level of violence just wasn't needed. But you know what? Let's have a look and see what's happening here. Alright, PlayStation selling Last of Us again. Also, Joel was right. What was Joel right about, chat?
Hey there, gamers, Dreamcast Guy here, and today we're talking about The Last of Us, and I gotta admit that this video is gonna be a bit angry because every part of the two stories we're talking about, to me, they feel insane.
He's angry?
They are re-releasing it again. I'm dead serious. PlayStation is about to release a $110 version of The Last of Us, which means that across the two games, they have been remade, remastered, repackaged, resold, reported over and over and over and over and over again. And it is bonkers to me that, you know, every game company tries to do remasters. They try to resell stuff. I'm totally fine with that.
Wait, he's actually upset that it's being remade? Yeah, it's $110, Power Boss. Wait, he's actually upset that it's being remade? That's crazy. How can he be upset that it's being remade? There's no way. No way he's upset. He should be lapping this up.
Concept. My thing here is the fact that specifically PlayStation has just been absolutely flooding us with remasters that feel like the most minor upgrades for how big the price tags
It's very
are.
low.
Like, it is crazy to think about the fact that they've done Horizon Zero Dawn remastered and Days Gone remastered and The Last of Us again and again. But the other story we're going to talk about today is that Neil Druckmann has just admitted that Joel was right, and I'm so confused by this. Obviously, the most controversial, the most debated, the most contentious aspect of The Last of Us Part 2 is that Joel gets golf clubbed, and it's because of his actions in The Last of Us Part 1. The fact that he was willing to kill to defend Ellie, that he is willing to literally do whatever it takes to keep her safe, even if it does kill people that might have good intentions.
So what Neil Druckmann was referring to there, for those that haven't played the games, is at the end of the game, I know this is going to be a massive spoiler, but the games have been out for like, what, 50 years now, so if you haven't played it by now, it's unlucky. But essentially, he had to deliver Ellie because she was the cure. Her blood, she could be bitten and not turned. And at the end, he grew such an attachment to her because at the beginning of the game, his daughter died in his arms. He accepted her pretty much as his daughter and was unwilling to let her die as well. So he killed the doctor and walked away with the girl. So Neil Druckmann is saying that he was right in doing that. Now, obviously, there's the whole one for the many. You know, one person could save millions of people. Is that sacrifice worth it? It's an interesting question. Most people would say yes, but there are people who would say no.
Let's talk about both. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's start with this. So if you're thinking this is perhaps a leak or an April Fool's joke, this is actually legit. So this is posted by Bill Coon. We've talked about this guy a lot on the channel. He certainly has some sort of secret backdoor access to the PlayStation Store, because a lot of times he'll post box art, release date, and price points way before it's publicly known. And he said, you know, there's something that just appeared on the PlayStation Store. It's a $110 version of The Last of Us that's exclusive to PlayStation 5. Now, everybody's like, okay, well, we don't know what this is. It has to be some sort of collection. Now, even this, I don't like the idea of calling it the Universe Collection, but that's probably what it's going to be called. And the reason that irks me is that for years, there have been some sort of rumblings that we were going to get a Last of Us Part 3, and the talk was that it was going to be more positive. Now, maybe you don't want that, but for me, I mean, I've always thought that The Last of Us Part 1 always had this glimmer of hope to it, that humanity wants to play, to love, to explore. Like, humanity wants to survive. Obviously, right? As bad as the world of The Last of Us is, I always liked that in the first game, it really did feel like they were going to find happiness, even if they had to fight to find it, right? Whereas The Last of Us Part 2 is so obsessively bleak and, in my opinion, pointlessly edgy. What if we killed the characters you love? What if we torture the characters you've been cheering on for a decade? I just thought The Last of Us Part 2...
See, that was never my take on The Last of Us Part 2. And I know a lot of people that say this, but that was never my take on the second game. Ellie was upset with Joel because she made the choice that she wanted to sacrifice her life for the greater good. She came to terms with that, made peace with it, and it was her choice. She made that choice. Joel took that choice away from her, and she was upset with Joel because he took the choice away from her. That is why she was pissed with him and why she didn't forgive him. It wasn't that she didn't care for him. She was just pissed because he didn't respect her wishes. She made a choice and she wanted to follow through with it, regardless of the final circumstance or the final outcome, because that was something that she would control. It was her choice, and Joel took it away from her without even asking her. So in the second game, when they actually came and killed Joel, she still had raw emotions for Joel. I mean, the journey through the first game doesn't just disappear. Even though she was angry with him, she never thought that he was going to vanish the next day and never come back. It was something that would eventually work itself out. But when they actually killed him, and they did it right in front of her, the only thing she could think of was to go back and rip their guts out. Regardless of who they were. They weren't friends, they were the enemy. And so the whole game at that point becomes a quest for vengeance. She wants to avenge his death. And so she sets out to do it. Now, obviously, at the end, she has a calling and whatever happens, and she doesn't kill the final person, which is Abby, who would have been one of the protagonists, I guess, in the third game. But that's what the whole point is. All of this talk about, oh, this fetish, this and that, it was never about that. It was about her seeing her father figure brutally murdered in front of her, with her not being able to do anything about it, and then going on a hunt to find each and every one of them and take them out in the most brutal way, the way they killed Joel. That was the main aim of it. So, no, he's wrong. He's 100% wrong here.
It was just really not a good idea from start to finish. As fun as The Last of Us Part 2 is, I always thought that it was such a bad move plot-wise.
No,
but the rumors about The Last of Us Part 3 finally finding some sort of cure about maybe saving the world, to me, I was very interested in that. Whereas now they've confirmed pretty much explicitly, Neil Druckmann has said, there's not going to be a Last of Us Part 3. So that, to me, sucks. But
I agree, that does suck, because I did want a third one, because that was supposed to kind of finish the overall story arc, because it wasn't actually even supposed to be about Abby. Maybe Abby would have played a role in it, but it was actually supposed to be about Tommy, Joel's brother. And that was supposed to kind of tie all three games into one and give it a conclusion. That was the original thought process behind the third one, which could have actually ended up being really good. But who knows? Maybe by the time PlayStation 6 comes around, they might change their mind, cancel Intergalactic, and go back to The Last of Us 3.
They've been doing this weird thing where Naughty Dog, with each of these different additions they do, by buying it, you get extra skin. So look, now you can wear a jacket from Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophecy. Oh, Ellie's got extra shirts she can wear in the remake. That's great, whatever. But to me, even as we keep getting extra characters for the roguelike mode with the PC re-release and stuff, because God, they're also releasing this on PC, it just feels really weird that they keep releasing it again and again and again. Look at this. Tell us you're out of ideas at PlayStation without telling us you're out of ideas at PlayStation. Now, a lot of people are excited for Intergalactic. I do think Intergalactic's going to end up being very fun to play whenever it eventually comes out. But people are like, bro, how many Last of Us re-releases are you going to get until then? They won't even give you a Part 3. Look at that. It's Naughty Dog. All they have to do is milk The Last of Us. Hell, Intergalactic is the first new IP they have made that isn't coming out till 2026, possibly 2027. I guarantee you they're going to milk The Last of Us and make another re-release on PlayStation 6.
I can actually see that. The Last of Us Collection PS6 edition. I can so see it. I can totally see it.
God, I hope not. But here's the other thing I really want to talk about, which is that I have made multiple big viral videos whenever The Last of Us Part 2 initially came out, because I felt like it somehow fundamentally did not understand its own characters, which I'm not trying to just disregard the writing team and the vision they had in mind, but I was always incredibly mad that the entirety of The Last of Us Part 2, I felt like because we played as Abby, because we have to play as Joel's killer for like 12 hours of the game, it always felt like they were trying to drag the empathy out of you. Of yes, Joel killed her father, so yes, she's going to kill Joel. She's built her whole body into a weapon to kill Joel. I understand that from a narrative perspective, but the entire game tried to make it feel like, oh, all revenge is bad. Oh, everything's bad. Everybody's bad.
I mean, in a post-apocalypse world, who is actually good? It's kill or be killed, right? I mean, I'm going to use The Walking Dead as an example. If you see anyone walking around outside, you're not going to walk up to them like they're your neighbor, are you? Everyone is trying to take what you have. It's just one of those worlds. And if you decide to go and, shoot someone's dad in the face, well, there's going to be repercussions of that. I mean, he even had the whole Fireflies against him, right? And Brick, apparently it's supposed to be £110 or $110.
So it feels really weird that now Neil Druckmann just stated Joel was right to kill everybody and save Ellie in The Last of Us. I believe Joel was right. If I were there in Joel's position, I hope I'd be able to do what he did to save his daughter. I wholeheartedly agree no sane person or parent would sacrifice their child for the greater good, and nobody owes their life, especially children who can't consent, because of a world built on forced sacrifice is not a world worth saving.
But again, here's the point. She made the choice. Now, unknown to her, because she didn't have all the facts, the doctor's daughter, Abby, was also immune to bites. Right? So she was actually immune as well. But the doctor knew that if you undergo this process, it would, in fact, take the life of the patient in order for them to get the marrow they need. The patient wouldn't survive it. So he was not willing to sacrifice his daughter. So he was willing to sacrifice another random person. So, in my opinion, had Ellie had known that fact, maybe she would have chosen differently. She didn't have all the information. So, in that regard, I think Joel did do the right choice. I know ultimately Ellie never really found out the truth, and Joel was a Hail Mary in pulling her out. But the reality is, the cure was always within the doctor's reach. His own daughter was the cure, but he wasn't willing to sacrifice her. But he was willing to sacrifice someone else. So that's always a interesting, note.
Now, this is super weird, and a lot of people are like, wait, then what the hell are we doing? Who would have thought Neil Druckmann would have no issue attacking oh god. Then why gaslight the entire fan base? Not only was he right for his own gain, he was not right in the fact that he robbed humanity of a chance. Everybody is still just...
I mean, you can already see that these people didn't play the second game, because the second game explains about the doctor's daughter, Abby, being the cure and him not wanting. And he even told the staff that actually did find out about it not to say anything, because if they did, he'd kill him outright. He was not willing to put his daughter in harm's way. So there was a bit of double standards going on there. But you can see that the people that are commenting haven't really played the game to actually be able to give that context. They're just lemmings that listen to everyone else and follow through with, oh, what, everyone is saying this game is bad? Okay, I'm going to say this game is bad too.
Debating this. Because it's just super weird that the guy who made Joel, the guy who's been trying, in my opinion, to convince us that Abby was justified, that the murder was justified, that the golf clubbing had a proper purpose to fit.
I'll be honest with you. If someone shot my dad, I'm going after the person. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to let it slide by. I am going after them. So, yeah, Abby was fully justified. You can sugarcoat that and cope with that however much you want. She was fully justified in what she did.
Into this puzzle, I just feel like...
Have a good night, Paul.
To me, it absolutely falls apart. My major issue with The Last of Us Part 2 is always going to be the fact that it felt like it wanted you to both sides an argument that didn't need both sides. It felt like they tried to go, yeah, when you're playing as Ellie and you're trying to find Abby to kill her for killing Joel, that makes sense. You already love Joel. You already love Abby. Trying to get that, you already love Ellie. You already love Joel. So her getting that vengeance, that makes sense. You've seen the life in Jackson. You understand what they're trying to convey. It makes sense.
Okay.
So it's super bizarre that the back half of that game tries to be like, well, Abby had some good points too. And now they're being like, oh, actually, no, Joel was totally justified.
No, that's the whole point of the game, you idiot. It's providing you with... There's no right answer. That's the point. No one is right or wrong in what they did. That's literally the whole point of the game. You're either a freedom fighter or a villain. But no matter which side you're on, the opposite is the freedom fighter and the opposite is the villain. There's no right or wrong answer here. When Joel went in, he was justified, in my opinion, in taking Ellie. Was he justified in shooting the doctor? Probably, to a certain degree, considering the doctor was going to shoot him. But then they would, by killing the doctor, he made it so the doctor would never come after Ellie. Because if he didn't kill the doctor, they would have just sent more people. But that doctor was the only person left that could make the cure. So he made sure that Ellie was safe by killing the doctor. But the doctor is at fault for not using his own daughter in the first place. He would have had the cure. So there's no real right or wrong answer here. That's the whole point. That was the whole conundrum of the story. Ellie, Abby was justified in what she did because Joel killed her dad. Joel was justified in what he did because he wanted to save Ellie. There's no middle ground there.
I'm rambling, and maybe this doesn't even fully make sense, but I'm frustrated because the entirety of the game was basically built on this moral argument of trying to convince yourself that there are different ways to solve problems, that there is two sides to every situation, but then coming out and being like, oh yeah, the protagonist was always correct. Maybe that just sort of undoes it for me, but how do you feel about it? And I'm very serious, in the comment section, how do you feel about Joel? Like, are you on the side of the fact that Joel was right, that Joel was justified, that Joel, I mean, if Neil Druckmann says it, doesn't this hurt the story of The Last of Us Part 2 even more? Maybe that's just me.
No, not really. I don't think so. I think depending on the perspective you're looking at it, determines, where you stand with this. But there is no real right or wrong answer here. It's that's the whole conundrum of the game. There's no real right or wrong answer. It's just a haps of circumstance. And really, that's it. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. I think trying to come up with some philosophical answer to this is silly. When the reality is, if you've played through the game, you will know throughout the whole game that, both sides were flawed, both sides had reason. And a story, really. I mean, the whole story, Susano, pretty much was that. Sinking City is $9.74 USD right now. I did see someone jump into the chat earlier. Inconsequential. They tried to say something, I wasn't paying attention. They tried hard, though, to console war with the hardware. But then they were ignored and I think they left. Oh well. Alright, let's do one more and then that will be it. Sleeping Dogs is always on sale. I bought it. Haven't played it yet. Man, what a first frame. Yeah, you shouldn't have timed him out. I wanted to hear what he had to say. It'd have been interesting to see what his points were. Was it X fault? And that would have been even more interesting. Oh. You wanted the actual video for Sony gives up on retro PlayStation games. You asked for this, Steve. You're getting it. This was your choice.
Is officially just giving up on their old games. It feels like they don't actually care about their retro franchises, the stuff that made them popular in the first place. For the most part, they've kind of just ignored it. And even more recent games that have become incredibly popular, like Bloodborne, they don't even acknowledge it. Literally a couple days ago, was the 10th anniversary of Bloodborne, which seems like one of the most popular PlayStation 4 games ever. It didn't even get a tweet. But I wanted to talk about this today because...
Isn't it a case where they're not prepared to do even talk about Bloodborne, really, until the original creator actually wants to work on it or has time to work on it? They're not prepared to let someone else work on Bloodborne. So either he actually finds the time to work on the game, or they're simply just not prepared to do it. And how am I feeling about the Doom, I haven't really checked out on it. Honestly, I haven't seen any of the videos. Didn't have much time. Minister Madden. The usual PC handheld with an Xbox logo. Yeah, we had one of those earlier. Why haven't I had the time? I work. And then when I finish work, I had to set up I had something to eat. And then I had to set up my stream. And I jumped straight onto the stream. So I didn't really get a chance to actually have a look at anything today. I kind of, it would be nice if I could do this stuff 9 to 5 full time, but unfortunately, that's not the case right now. So my 9 to 5 job is my breadwinner, so that takes precedence in everything. I need money to live. Yeah, that's fine. I see, pal. No, I agree, Bags. You want the original person with the original vision to work on it to make sure it's better, and Sony aren't willing to compromise on that. And you know what? It is what it is.
Yesterday, there was a Nintendo Direct. A lot of people hated it. The main conversation is worst final Nintendo Direct, but I had a pretty good time. Yeah, a lot of the games sucked, but it had Metroid, so I was happy with it. But there was something exceptionally strange. New PlayStation games from PlayStation Studios, but not made by PlayStation and not exclusive to the PS5. But let's talk about it because
that's because Sony closed the studio. Sony closed those studios. They don't exist anymore. But they're still Sony first party IPs. And by the way, I've seen this multiple times now. I want to say it's Tripster that said it, but I can't remember 100%. But they were saying that closing Japan studios was the best move Sony has ever done. He doesn't care about all the jobs lost. It gave rise to Team Asobi and Astrobot, and that's worth closing Japan studios. That is what they said. That's crazy. Yet when Xbox closes a studio, you barbaric beasts. But when Sony closes a studio, it was absolutely deserved, and it's the best thing Sony could do. Just thought I'd put that in there.
I think that Sony is starting to change their strategy with AA. They only want to have the biggest, craziest, flashiest games, but for their classic series, their classic IP, I think they're going to let other people kind of just do their best with it. Let's talk. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe.
Man's got 200,000 subs, and I can't even get 10,000 subs. You guys are slacking. Create multiple accounts and get me to 10,000 subs. That is your to-do list.
If you haven't already. So, here are the two games they revealed yesterday that, I mean, everybody is so confused by, but it's now been 24 hours and they're releasing these completely new logos. If you grew up playing Hot Shots Golf, on the PlayStation 1 especially, I've put so many hours into Hot Shots Golf, they brought it back. We're getting a completely new Hot Shots Golf. Now, in Japan, it's always been called Everybody's Golf. They combined it. So now the complete name is...
I'm subbing for begging for subs. You better damn make another 15 accounts and start subbing. Punk.
It's going to be Everybody's Golf Hot Shots. But Patapon, I am obsessed with Patapon because I'm a big PSP fanatic. They're bringing them back. They're doing a remastered coupled collection with new features. These have been remastered on PlayStation.
And dropping memberships with all 15 accounts. Got to hit that daily sub goal, right?
4, but now they've actually fixed some of the glitches to timing and stuff, that very essential rhythm game. But people are like, bro, seeing these two logos in an official Nintendo Switch graphic is still surreal. What a time to be alive. This is an official tweet by Nintendo, basically advertising some great upcoming PlayStation games. But people are already beginning to say, okay, so it seems like what's happening is Bandai Namco has secured the rights. Now, Bandai Namco has actually been doing other stuff with PlayStation, but they already have commercials ready. They already have advertising. They already have a big media blitz going on for these games. It's so cool to see Patapon coming back. God, I love Patapon. Bandai Namco is already putting more effort into preserving and marketing PlayStation classics than Sony themselves has done in the last 15 years. I'm sick to my stomach. Now, I think this person's being hyperbolic to be silly. They have championed some classics. We did have the medieval remake in Shadows of Colossus, but definitely for easily the last 8 or 9 years, Sony has been dead silent about their classics.
I mean, Sony and Microsoft have mainly tried to make the AAA games, which they believe, those are the console sellers, right? Papaton isn't going to move a console. Hot Shots Golf isn't going to move a console. Banjo-Kazooie is not going to move consoles unless it's exclusive to Nintendo. Then it probably will at least shift a few. But these companies now want games that are going to have a big impact and not a minimal impact. But I think that having these varieties and developing games of these varieties like we had during the PS3 and the 360 era, and even, to an extent during the Xbox One and the PS4 era, was actually a good thing. Having games like Hi-Fi Rush now, was actually a really nice change. But as you saw, they're just not selling. They're not having the impact that people want. Even when it went to PlayStation, no one bought it. They ported it over to PlayStation hoping it would do really well, and it didn't. And this is the problem with these niche games. Back in the day, they used to be low budget and enough to actually, the sales that they made were enough. Now, if they're not selling 2 million, 3 million, 5 million copies, it's deemed a failure.
Then, drip feeding us stuff on PlayStation Plus Premium. But I have seen people saying, okay, if all three of these games, Freedom Wars Remastered, Hot Shots Golf, Patapon, if those can all be licensed, if those can be revived, if those can be brought back, maybe they can bring back Bloodborne. Bloodborne is also technically under the Japan Studio IP. Now, thus far, this very much seems like a big pivot from what PlayStation has typically been up to. By far, the company, the studio that people have talked about the most as sort of the canary of the coal mine when it felt like PlayStation kind of pivoted tactics is Japan Studio. There used to be a group of people specifically inside of PlayStation that's job it was to make lower budget, incredibly good classics. Knack, Ape Escape, Grab.
I swear, if we get a Knack free before Bloodborne, if we get a Knack free before we get Bloodborne, that's gonna be special. That's gonna be special.
Gravity Rush, Puppeteer, obviously The Last Guardian, Loco Roco. These are all games that, even if they're not winning a ton of awards, even if they're not the biggest, craziest thing ever, they're good games. They're incredibly good games that are creative and different, and I feel like different is the important thing. So many people make memes about the fact that everything from PlayStation is an over-the-shoulder, narrative-heavy experience. They don't do a lot of shooters. They don't do a lot of online stuff. It's just this, right? Well, I guess current PlayStation's very obsessed with live service, but
that's what I thought, Leaf. He actually just said that Knack is not a good game. He said it's a very good game. Knack, a very good game. Not sure with that one, buddy.
Shuhei Yoshida recently left PlayStation, and now he's allowed to talk about whatever he wants. He's been making jokes about how now he's legally allowed, because he's not tied up with PlayStation. He's allowed to talk about how excited he is for the Nintendo Switch 2. But he says that a major reason he left is because he felt weird about the fact that they were shutting studios down. Shuhei Yoshida says that Japan Studio was shut down because PlayStation does not want AA games. They only want AAA. But here is the main reason I want to talk about this. I think that, in a way, PlayStation has perhaps, and I'm being very optimistic here, they've perhaps found a way to have the best of both worlds, where they can focus their budget, their time, their marketing on the big AAA stuff that's going to make hopefully billions of dollars and sell PlayStations. But at the same time, they're going to make it so they can license their older games. They can basically say, all right, other people, you're allowed to remaster this, to do whatever you want. We want a big cut. Like this, people are basically being like, okay, Sony has now officially started licensing out their dormant intellectual property to third parties. We've seen this now in 2023 with the Fantavision remake. We've seen this year with the Freeamore's remaster, Patapon, and Everybody's Golf. These all being brought by Bandai Namco. It seems like we could be getting other remasters as well. Games that maybe deserve to come back, like Gravity Rush or Tokyo Jungle. Games.
The problem with that is that games like Gravity Rush are very unique in their gameplay. You kind of have to capture that essence in the gameplay in order for it to be good. I know the second one wasn't as good as the first one because they kind of tried to streamline it and make it a little more mainstream. But the first one was so unique. I think it was on the Vita or the PSP. I can't remember which one it actually was on originally. But I think it was the Vita because it had gyro controls. But that actually made it really unique. And it was a solid game. I really enjoyed Gravity Rush. Not the second one as much, but the first one was really good. But if you want to get that sort of experience again, you kind of need the team. Because they're the ones behind it. They're the ones with the creative thinking behind it. If you remove that, like they have with the Japan studios, giving it to someone like Namco, Ubisoft, or whoever is going to make these games, they're not going to be the same game. It's not going to feel the same way. It's going to be a completely different game. For certain games, I can see it working. You know, smaller titles like Papaton and Everybody's Golf, it can work. But if you're looking at other games like Gravity Rush, I just don't see it working. There's way too many creative nuances there where I just don't feel that it would actually work. But that's just my opinion. Why are we not? What's that? Why are we not calling out Xbox for PC Ultimate Game Pass cheaper? Dude, we've been through that multiple times. Turn up to the streams earlier. I've already brought that up multiple times. Like a lot. I know other places might not, but I do. And I think it's a sham. But I will also say that you get more. Well, you get the best of both worlds with the Ultimate, but I still think that for consoles, you should have the same option you do on PC Game Pass, where you get everything without the cloud and the PC cross entitlement. I think that should be there. That should be an option. I've said this multiple times, dude. Multiple times.
Games that are not just incredibly good, but in a lot of ways, I feel like they would sell 10 times
Yeah,
better.
Bags, it makes
Gravity
sense.
Rush and Tokyo Jungle are
That you want
very, very
Bloodborne to be
famous
made by the
games
same
because they were so overlooked. Gravity Rush is like a time tilty game. You can basically attack by controlling gravity. You turn gravity to hit people, you turn gravity to run up walls and solve puzzles and stuff. Incredibly good games. They're extremely, extremely unique. And at the time, they admitted that even for how tiny the budgets were, they sold almost 0 copies. And PlayStation was disappointed because they couldn't tell it was good. People that played it could tell it was good. And the same for Tokyo Jungle. That was like a open world.
Power Boss? I do, yes. If they go down the PC route, which I think they are, they can't get away with charging for Xbox Live and going down the route of that because that would be a massive turnoff to anyone. That would basically just be telling people just go to PC, like build your own PC. I can't see a world where they can still ask you to pay for Xbox Live if they are going down the PC route. Because at the end of the day, if you're buying a game off Steam, for example, regardless of whether it's an Xbox game or not, if you're playing it on that device, you're going to need to pay for Xbox Live, just like you do with Final Fantasy 14, which is stupid. You shouldn't need to. So that, in my opinion, they would have to abolish it. Just look at Final Fantasy 14, right? When it landed on Xbox. I made a big stink about this at the time. I think I was one of the few people that did. It doesn't use Xbox Live servers at all. People try to argue with me, well, it's in their terms, and if it's a paid product, you have to go by the rules of having to have Xbox Live, but it doesn't actually use Xbox Live at all. It doesn't even connect to it. The 360 at the time when you had Final Fantasy 11, you could have a silver account, which was a basic free account, and play Final Fantasy 11 online without any Xbox Live requirement. On PlayStation, you do not need PS Plus to play Final Fantasy 14. If it comes out on Switch, which I think it is coming to Switch too, by the way, because Yoshi P was saying it, it is not going to need Nintendo Online to play it. Xbox is going to be the only platform that forces you to have Xbox Live to play a game that doesn't use Xbox Live, which is wrong, which is plainly wrong. And I've said this multiple times, which is why I don't get why Heatwave actually went on that tirade. I've said this multiple times. But in my opinion, yes, I fully expect them to drop the Xbox Live requirement. They can still charge what they want for Ultimate, but I fully expect them to drop the requirement.
Old roguelike that was incredibly difficult at the time, but now people kind of appreciate good difficulty, and roguelikes are now more popular than ever. I think that PlayStation perhaps has started to think about how they handled Spider-Man when it comes to the Sony movies. Now, keep in mind, Sony technically owns the infinite rights to Spider-Man. They can make whatever they want, anytime they want, as long as it's a movie, right? But the Spider-Man movies were never as big and popular as they wanted, which is why they eventually lent Spider-Man to the Marvel movies. That's why you didn't see Spider-Man for a very long time until, phase 3? I have no idea how the Marvel movie works anymore. But that's when they started to basically say, okay, you can put Spider-Man in movies, you can have Tom Holland swing around and make this new era of Spidey with No Way Home and A Long Way Home and all that, but we want 10%. We want 10% off the top of all your box office. So basically Sony found a way to make hundreds of millions of dollars for very minimal work. I think they're trying to replicate that in the gaming business of, okay.
But that's the thing. Even what he's saying there is factually not correct, because Sony have to make a movie, whether it's animated or a live action, within a certain number of years. I think it's maybe 5 or 6 years. I don't really know the actual number. But if they don't do that, they lose the Marvel license to Spider-Man. Their movie license to Spider-Man is, contingent on them releasing content on a periodic schedule. So if they don't actually do that, they actually lose the movie rights as well. One of the things that I think Sony did do, which is pretty awful, and this just shows you really how petty Sony actually is, that any villain that they use in the Sony movies, that the Marvel movies can't actually use them. That is so petty. That's why you didn't see a Green Goblin in the Marvel movies, because Sony had already used him. It's why you'll probably never see a Sandman. You might hear remnants of him, but you won't see him properly because Sony used him. And that's a really horrible thing for Sony to do. There's literally no reason for that sort of a clause to be in the contract, outside of them just being absolutely nasty. It's really petty. Absolutely petty. To actually go and actually make that a contractual, request, that's just nasty work. What would it matter if Marvel or someone else decided, hey, we're going to do a movie with Green Goblin? I mean, whatever you're doing, Sony, do it. It's not going to matter. But that's why now Marvel can't use those enemies, those villains, in their movies to progress with a story in a certain way. They wanted to use the Green Goblin. They wanted to use other villains from the from the franchise, but they can't because they've appeared in the original Sony production Spider-Man movies, so they're legally not allowed to use them.
We have this back catalog that everybody still wants, but we just don't want to focus our efforts, our time, our development, our marketing on these games. What if we license it out to studios that we know are good, that know what the hell they're doing?
And Devin, the only reason there was that 2 minutes of in it in No Way Home isn't that the one with all three of them in it. It's because Tobey Maguire was in there, and so that film was built joint Sony, joint Marvel. It was a joint production, so that's how they could use some of the characters.
That know how to put something out. And the reason I'm excited about this is because not only does Bandai Namco rock, I think I like the idea that if these games sell good, the studios are now on their own incentivized to make their own sequels. A Patapon 4, another Hot Shots Golf is coming out. That's extremely cool. What about a Gravity Rush 3? We already know they're doing a Gravity Rush movie. What happens if we get another re-release of Gravity Rush 1 and 2, and then those sell great because of the movie, and then we get a Gravity Rush 3? We're never really going to get back to the magic we had with, well, I mean, the amazingness of Japan Studio, but if some of that magic...
That's a good take, right? You know, Japan Studio was special. They came out with, most of their games were double A, but they were actually really good. They were weird, except for Knack. Knack was just a bad. That was just bad. But the rest of them, even Loco Roco on the Vita, was such a weird game and it was designed for the Vita, and it just worked. And the way they actually, integrated Loco Roco into Astrobot they did it in such a genius way. It really, really worked, especially with the gyro controls emulating the Vita's gyro controls. So, I think, losing Japan Studio was a big loss for gamers because they really did cater for that segment of the audience that really enjoyed these games. And unfortunately, they don't exist anymore. In my opinion, they should have just sold that studio in its entirety with the IPs to someone like Nintendo, who would have utilized it really well. Because a lot of these games would do amazing on Nintendo.
Can live on. Another Ape Escape. More crazy weirdness like Knack. I feel like that is what I miss most, is the quirky uniqueness, where it's a great series, it's weirdness, but also it just feels unlike anything else. I miss that era of PlayStation.
I mean, what you're saying is you miss the era when gaming was good. When gaming was actually interesting. You had so many creative games, different games, and, the way that, people took risks. And a lot of those risks generally panned out and turned out to be good enough to actually make a profit and succeed. Companies today don't make risks. They don't take them. And they're all kind of, following a particular formula. And it's just, gaming today is not the same as gaming during the PS2 Xbox OG era. Gaming today is not the same as the 360 PS3 era. Gaming today, in my opinion, has stagnated and gotten way worse. So those people that actually lived and experienced through the OG and PS2 era, or the Sega Saturn and the Dreamcast and the PS1, even going back like to the Mega Drive days and or Genesis, as you guys know it in the US, and the Super Nintendo. That collective era was so different to what we have now. Even the way we used to just console war back then, where we used to talk about games and discuss stuff, it used to be so different. In the way you're doing it now, it's about how much insult you can throw to a person or dig into their personal life or their social media. It's not about the games anymore. and it's sad. And the way games have evolved over time, they've kind of just the creativity has flatlined. Which is why when a game like Astrobot appears, it might not be the best game out there. But when you get games like, Mario Odyssey, Astrobot, and whatnot, they are so just different to the average game that you play. Whether it's The Last of Us or it's Uncharted or, even Indiana Jones, one of my favorite games, it was my game of the year. They all kind of follow a set pattern, and it's too samey with a different setting. And it's, there needs to be a reset at some point where graphics isn't the be all and end all. It doesn't not everything has to be ultra realistic with the most amazing graphics out there. Games can be good looking, cel shaded, or games can be good that just aren't that graphically realistic. You don't have to have that. But the average person today, and even the younger generation, if they see a game that doesn't have amazing graphics, they're instantly, nah, I'm not playing that. My kid's a prime example. I put something on the PS2 like Zone of the Enders, they're walking away. Like instantly. They look at that and one look and they're out. Dreamcast, they're off. GameCube, they're walking away. They want that really good, overall graphics. Even if they are PC gamers, they still want a set level of standard. And, it's not always about the graphics. The graphics aren't the be all and end all. The creativity behind it should carry the game. If you need the graphics to carry the game without the creativity behind it, then it's going to be flat. That's just my thoughts on this anyway. But yeah, I don't think he's got anything else to say.
But these have just been some off the cuff thoughts.
Yeah, he hasn't got anything else to say. That's my thoughts on this anyway. Mortal Kombat had blood on the Genesis, not on SNES. That was console warring back then. It was fun back then, man. It was different. But they did sell back in the day. I just feel a part of gaming is lost. And has been lost for quite some time. And this isn't just, looking at it from a Sony point of view. This is everything. Right? This is everything. Like, I don't know. Gaming just used to be different back in the day. At least to me. Thank you for that super chat, my dude. Xbox PC now showing console titles in my library. Oh, really? What do you mean by that? The Series S didn't kill gaming. Far from it. Well, so if I check the Xbox app, I might. What do you want me to check? Simple. My Xbox or my Xbox app on PC? And Bags, elaborate on that. Why did the Series... Oh, you're not serious. A lot of people are, though, Bags. That's the problem. A lot of people say that and they're very serious. I mean, I blame the Series S for everything. It's my go-to meme. It used to be my go-to meme for everything on X. Until it started to backfire and I got a lot of backlash from Xbox fans. Oh. And then I just stopped using it because there was no fun to be had anymore. But thank you very much for that $2 super chat, dude. I appreciate it. But yeah, what did you... Where am I checking it on? Oh, I see. I don't think I have that yet. Oh, apparently Xbox is down anyway. Major outage on gaming, cloud gaming, and remote play, store and subscriptions. So I can't see it on my end. Yeah, I can say it's not showing on my stuff, my side. But if you're okay, I don't mind showing your picture. So that's what he's seeing at the moment. Oh. And as you can see, you've got your 360 games now showing up, but I'm not seeing that just yet. Not in my library. But like I said, here in the UK, it looks like Xbox servers have had a massive dump. It's releasing soon, right? Oh, Xbox is down there over as well. Your Series Cloud was lagging. But you know, this is kind of cool. This is kind of cool, and it's good to see Battle.net having Doom already. That's Microsoft's way in getting around the Xbox app not being on Steam, because they know you can install Battle.net on the Steam OS on the Steam Deck. So now you can run. You're going to see more games going to Battle.net, so you can run them natively on the Steam OS. Do you know what I've been like? I had like a 200 and something day streak, and then it randomly reset to 1 day streak again, which was annoying. I contacted them via support, and they put me back up to like 150, but not to my original. That's a good question, Bags. They don't need so many different stores. You know, they had the ZeniMax one, which they closed. They've got the Battle.net one, which I think they're going to keep because of Activision. Um, and obviously they've got the Xbox app. And I mean, the Windows Store is just completely useless, right? Why does that even exist? I mean, why does the Windows Store even? Well, I guess the Windows Store exists for the desktop, but that should be fully part of Well, it is integrated with the Xbox app anyway. But yeah, no, I think they're going to keep Battle.net. They're not going to get rid of Battle.net. Yeah, definitely an outage here. It's a major outage on store subscriptions, cloud gameplay. Applies to Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One, cloud, Android, Xbox on Windows. Outage date started today, and the resolution is pending. Same for cloud, and same for store subscriptions. So chat, how many of you are buying this game? It's okay, you can own up. I believe in you. $35,000 gives you access to 3 months of Game Pass. Yeah, that's a lot of points to lose. I know Gorsey is. Yeah, I am not getting this. Power World, man. Last year they had this as an April Fool's. And it turns out, Bags, a lot of people really liked the April Fool's trailer. And they asked them to make it into a real game. So they did. They turned it into a real game. It's on the Steam store right now. I think Bucky down here said something about it. Where is it? No, I can't find it. But he actually said people were asking for it, so they decided to make it. Giving the people what they truly want. Oh, bullets. Yeah, once you've claimed it, it goes to your email. And then you have to go to your. I thought this as well. I thought I lost mine as well. I thought you meant it just disappeared, like my streak disappeared. No, it will go to your email address that you've got registered, and there'll be a link in there, and you have to redeem it through that code. Starfield is always dead. But folks, I think it will. Power Boss. I think it will. September time. Live stream game for you. No. But you can enjoy it all you want, buddy. You can enjoy it all you want. All right, one last thing before I go. It just reverted back. Then it must have been a test error. But one more thing before I go. How much do people in chat believe that the price will be tomorrow for the Switch 2? What's people's predictions? We'll check it out on Thursday anyway. It's a shame that the show on Thursday starts at 2 o'clock again. And apparently it's like 3-4 hours long, which is, it'll be finished before I even get a chance to actually jump on stream. Probably not going to watch all 4 hours. But if there's anything worthwhile watching on there, we might just skim through it to see what's good. Oh, they removed the 3-month auto redeem. I don't do auto redeem. I just redeem it myself. So 300 to 500. I think it's going to be $399.99. I can't see it being $300. or £300. Can't. I don't. Also, bullets. Send Microsoft support an email. They're actually really good at getting back to people. They usually take about 2, maybe 3 days to get back to you, but they will tell you what if they haven't sent it, they'll send you the code that you would have originally got anyway, because they can see internally that it wasn't applied to your account, so you'll get it back. Just just send them a message. $400 to $450. I'm gonna stick with $399.99. But folks, that's going to be me for today. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be over at Twitch, probably doing my stuff on TOF, maybe, because I didn't do anything. I wasn't able to do it on Monday. So if you want to come hang out on tomorrow over at Twitch, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'll see you all on Thursday. All right, folks. Thanks so much for hanging out. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Make sure to drop all those super chats that you're burning to put away. The $5, $50, $100. It all counts. No, I'm just kidding. But I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, folks, and remain legend. Make sure you drop them super chats. Even when I'm gone. And the memberships. Screw it. Just put everything in your account into it. Folks.